I want to give this teaching today the most respect that I can possibly give it, because it deals with a very sensitive topic, deals with a very tragic event, and I want to make sure I give it all of the due respect as I share it with you this morning. But I share it with you as not a means to bring you down or discourage you or anything like that, but there's a lesson here that I need you to learn, and it's a lesson nobody's ever taught you. You've not learned this in church. Your pastor's never said this to you. Your pastor would never say this to you. Some of you I might lose because of this teaching. That's how radical this one can be. But it's the truth. And you know me, I'm not going to back down from saying what is true. I want to start this teaching today by telling you about a story that I heard this week. A tragic story that I heard this week that happened about 2 weeks ago in one of the boroughs of New York. I believe it was New York. It could have possibly been New Jersey, but I heard this story from a rabbi. The situation was that there was a mother that was on Shabbat walking down the street, and they got to an intersection. And as the mother and the children crossed this intersection, a car came through the intersection, hit the mother and two of the children, and killed them instantly. Instantly. Like that. Their lives were snuffed out. That's tragic. That's heartbreaking. Any one of us, if we stop and we think about our loss in our lives, where we've had people that we loved, they're here one day, they're gone the next. And I think about this all the time now, personally. I think about this all the time. Every time my kids go out the door, or Bex goes out the door, or even I go out the door, do you know what I think to myself? Are we coming home? Because I just don't know. None of us know. The person sitting next to you right now, we don't know they're going to be here another minute. We don't know that we won't have an aneurysm right now. And so in life, we find these tragedies. Even among believers, people who have great faith. One of the greatest Torah teachers that I've ever heard of, a couple of years ago, he had a brain tumor and he died. It's hard to make sense of this. It's hard to reconcile this. And I want to tell you in advance, before I even start today, if you choose not to believe in Hashem because of stories like this, where people say, how can God, a God that loves you, actually have these things happen? And I heard one time Stephen Fry, some of you might have seen a video of Stephen Fry talking about why he doesn't believe in God. One of the primary reasons Stephen Fry said he doesn't believe in God is because there's a fly in Africa that its whole life cycle, its whole lifespan is spent around landing on a human's eye, placing its eggs in the human's eye, and causing blindness. And Stephen Fry said, if there's a God who allows that to happen, I don't want to be a part of it. Why would God let that happen? And if that's where you are today, and if you hear stories like this and you say, I don't want to believe in Hashem because of stories like that, I want to say to you today, I can't blame you. I totally understand where you're at, because I cannot prove to you today, no matter how much people try to convince you, no matter what some preacher might say to you today, I cannot prove to you today that Hashem runs this world. I can't prove it beyond a shadow of a doubt. That might shock some of you. Some of you might be saying, please, Josh, don't say that. But I'm trying to be honest with you today. I can't prove it. Do I believe it? Absolutely. With everything that I am, with my whole heart today, I believe Hashem runs this world. And if you ask me, I would say that me sitting in this chair is living proof that he runs this world. But I can't prove it to you. I can't. So if you choose today, when you hear me do this teaching today, if you choose to say, no way, that's not Hashem, and you choose to live in a random world with Stephen Fry and Richard Dawkins and Stephen Hawkins, everything just happened randomly. There was a big boom and all of this happened randomly. And you want to live in a world where things like this mother and her children get killed instantly. Things like that just happen. I want to say today, you can live in that random world. I cannot force you to change your mind. But if you do believe in Hashem, and you find yourself struggling, and you do need an approach to help you make sense of things like this when they happen in your life, hopefully what I share with you today will give you that very focused set of skills that will help you deal with whatever might come next in your life. I want to start today by telling you a mashal from the Talmud. It's found in Gittin 56a. And if you look there, there's a mashal involving a girl called Martha. She was the daughter of a man called Boethus. And she was a wealthy woman from Jerusalem during the 1st century CE. It just so happens that during the Roman siege of Jerusalem, Martha, who was accustomed to her luxuries, found herself destitute, and she resorted to scavenging for food. The mashal goes on to say that one day on his travels, Rabbi Yohanan ben Zakkai, he sees a girl in the distance in torn and tattered clothes, collecting barley, collecting barley from the dung of animals, which belonged to the Arabs. As the rabbi got closer, the young woman, realizing who he was, she covered herself as much as she possibly could because she realized her clothes were tattered and they weren't up to spec with her long, unkept hair. And she hurried over to him, and she begged him for food. The rabbi, seeing her there and witnessing this, instantly recognized who this girl was, and he even recalls that he had been to her wedding. And he says to her, as he's talking to her, I remember at your wedding, your parents gave you a lot of gold, a lot of silver. And the groom's parents, they did the same thing. They gave you guys so much gold and so much silver. So knowing her wealth, he says to her, what are you doing? Where has all your wealth gone? All Martha could manage to say was, it's gone. It's gone. Hearing her response, the rabbi remarked to his disciples. Listen to what he said to his disciples. Praise of the Jewish people. Praise of the Jewish people. When we're doing what Hashem wants, we're on top of the world. No one can touch us. And when we're not doing Hashem's will, when Hashem wants something else to happen, we're not just down. We're all the way down. We're at the very bottom. You hear that story, and I read that story this week, and I said, how in the world can this make sense? This makes no sense. Praise of the Jewish people when we're basically at death's door, when we're basically destitute. Why on earth would he start his statement with praise of the Jewish people? Maybe what he should have said instead was praise of the Jewish people, that when we're up, we're all the way up. But here we see he comes across Martha, this girl who is at the bottom. She's all the way down, and he responds to her, and he responds to his disciples, praise of the Jewish people. How do we make sense of this? The commentaries on this story explain it this way. Hashem runs the world. Hashem runs the world. What that means, brothers and sisters, is that Hashem knows every single detail. There's a Hebrew phrase Hashgacha Pratit, which translate to mean Hashem watches over every specific detail. Hashem watches over every specific detail. Now, what our Western minds often take this to mean is that everything always works out the way we want it to work out. You might not agree with me, but I'm going to tell you today that is exactly how your mind has been programmed. If you've come up in the Western world, if you've been brought up in Christianity, that is how your mind has been programmed. Everything always works out the way that we want to work it out. For example, here's a good example for you. This is one Bex and I have had recently. I'm running late for a hospital appointment. I can't seem to find a parking space. Then all of a sudden, a smiling person waves to me and they say, "Hey, I'm leaving. I'm leaving over here. If you want to come over here and park in my space, I'm moving now. You guys can come and park here." You had that experience? We always view Hashgacha in the positive light. But brothers and sisters, that's not what Hashgacha means. Let me give you another personal example. As I was reviewing this teaching yesterday, and I try to do it sort of on a daily basis to get it in my head, and I was preparing, I decided that I needed to get some breakfast so I could take my medication, something I do every single morning. It's not unusual. So I went out there to the cupboard. I got my bowl. I filled my bowl with cereal. And my cereal, brothers and sisters, this is a side note, my cereal is awful. I mean, this stuff could be cardboard. I'd probably be better off eating the box than I am the contents because it's got like no sugar, which is absolutely disgusting. But anyway, I got my bowl. I put my cereal in my bowl. I opened the fridge to grab myself some milk to pour in my bowl so that I could move on with my day. And guess what? There was no milk. There was no milk, even though I had seen milk in the fridge yesterday. Today, when I went to get that milk, when I needed it, it wasn't there. Now, look, I know that's a funny story. It's a funny thing to share. I know that. And it might seem insignificant to you because, brothers and sisters, I promise most of us, we would have had that experience. Most of us probably would have said a few choice words under our breath. Like, "Where's my milk?" But do you know what it did for me? That little interaction in my day, do you know what it did for me? It instantly reminded me of what Hashem has been teaching me. That little experience, that little nothing, reminded me of what I'm learning. That being that Hashgacha means Hashem is always involved right down to the finest detail. All the way down, brothers and sisters, to the single hairs on your head or having enough milk left for your cereal. Understand, Hashem is always involved. And sometimes that's going to mean you see incredibly good results in your life. But sometimes, brothers and sisters, that's going to mean you're going to see very difficult results. But true believers realize that either way, it is always the hand of Hashem. You see, praise of the Jewish people means that when things go well in our lives, we can tell it's Hashem because He puts us all the way up. And when things don't go well, we can also tell it's Him because He makes it incredibly difficult. What are you trying to say? This is what I'm trying to say to you today. I'm trying to explain that in October 2023, the events following Simchat Torah, what was so clear is that it was the hand of Hashem. Please don't run away. Please don't get scared by that statement. They have done so many investigations and all different kinds of things to try and see what happened. Who dropped the ball? Who can we blame? At the end of the day, there is no explanation as to how Israel, with all its technology along that border, with all its artillery, with its army, there is no explanation in the world for how thousands of terrorists cross the border. If you know anything about Israel, you will know that usually barely even one terrorist could get across that border. How in the world did thousands of terrorists come across that border? Everybody says there's no explanation. We just don't know. You know what the explanation is, brothers and sisters? And please prepare yourself for this. It's the hand of Hashem. It's the hand of Hashem. You see, brothers and sisters, what I'm coming to understand is that often we see the hand of Hashem when he makes something work perfectly. We all do that. Something good happens in your life. Oh yeah, God moved there, brother. Let me tell you. Let me tell you about the good things going on in my life. Let me tell you about what God has done in my life because he works things out perfectly. You know what we fail to do? We fail to see the hand of Hashem when he makes something uniquely difficult. All the difficult things we want to blame on Hasatan. All the difficult things we want to say, oh, well, that was something else. We fail to see when Hashem makes something uniquely difficult. This girl in the Mashal, brothers and sisters, was the daughter of Boethus. He was a man who is said to have been one of the wealthiest and most generous Jews to have ever lived. She herself was a wealthy woman. So how is it even possible that a girl that grew up that wealthy is in this position? How does that happen? It must be Hashem. It must be Hashem. And I'm going to tell you, as tragic as an event as it might seem, don't run away. It's the same thing with the story of this Jewish family a couple of weeks ago. This story is so strange. It's so strange that it's so clearly the hand of Hashem. And if you believe in Hashem, you realize that Hashem is involved in everything. Thank you for staying. Thank you for not leaving. But I recognize that some of you might be saying to yourselves, Josh, how can you say that this is so clearly the hand of Hashem with such a horrific event? Do you not understand that's not sensitive? Do you not understand the family would be just outraged by that? No, they're not, because I know they believe this, for a start. How can I say that this was the hand of Hashem? What I mean is this, listen. This family was crossing the street. Literally the next step, one step, and they would have been on the sidewalk. One step. They weren't 20 feet away from it. They weren't at the start of the crossing. They were at the end of the crossing. One more step, and this family would have been safe. The car that hit these people, it was even being driven by a Jew on Shabbat in a Jewish community. You know, that's like a no-no. That doesn't happen in a Jewish community. It was a Jew driving this car on Shabbat, no less. It's so crazy. It's so difficult. It's so horrific. But I want to challenge you today, brothers and sisters, and I want to ask you, why do we so easily say, if I had been 1 second later, it would have been tragic? If I had come around that car when I wanted to come around that car, it would have been a head-on collision. One more second and it would have been a head-on collision. Why are we so easy and we're so eager to say things like that? But we fail to acknowledge Hashem in events where that 1 second actually results in tragedy. I submit to you today, it's because we do not understand how Yod He Vav He works. You have been taught an idea of fairness. You've been taught an idea of justice. You have been taught an idea of righteousness. You have been taught things like God would never do that. God wouldn't do this. God wouldn't do that. Limiting the creator of the universe to the morals and the standards of a human. We do not understand how he truly works. You see, in the midst of this tragedy, for those who have eyes to see it, Hashem is there and he's working. I want to share with you just one of the coincidences. And all of you know I don't believe in coincidence. There is no such thing. But if you do, I want to share with you one of the coincidences in this story. And there are many. There are many. I heard it from a rabbi who's telling the story. You wouldn't believe the connections between this event and certain dates and times and things going on. Let me just share one thing with you. Because of when this event happened, the funeral for these precious, precious people was held on Rosh Chodesh Nisan. Do you know what happened on Rosh Chodesh Nisan? That's when Yisrael inaugurated the Mishkan. And on the day the Mishkan was inaugurated, do you know what happened to Aharon? Aharon lost half his children. He lost 2 of his 4 children, just like this Jewish father did. They had 4 children. They lost 2 of them. Brothers and sisters, if we just stop, if we just take a step back, if we examine things and we see things clearly, and this is just one of the coincidences, quote unquote. Very often what you will see, if you're willing to take a step back, is you will see it's the hand of Hashem. I know what you're saying to yourself. Josh, you've just made my belief system a whole lot worse. You've just complicated my belief system. I thought I had this figured out. Now things are really complicated. If that's where you are, that's where I was this week. Josh, you're saying this is the hand of Hashem? I thought you're the guy who is always telling us that Hashem loves us and he's merciful and he's always there for us and he cares for us. Now you're saying the hand of Hashem does things like this? How can these things even be compatible? How can these lessons even be compatible, Josh? Brothers and sisters, here's my answer. It's very simple, really. A lot of us have a misconception about how life is supposed to be. Stop and digest that for a second. A lot of us have misconceptions about how this life is supposed to be. And there's one great example that I heard this week found in the U.S. Declaration of Independence. I'll use that because that's home, right? That's USA, USA. So I'll use this example for you because I think it's a good one. There's a phrase in the U.S. Declaration of Independence that says this, that one of the purposes of establishing the United States of America is for life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. And because of things like this, because of statements like that, people believe that this life is supposed to be very happy. It's supposed to be easy. It's supposed to be laid back. And this is why you see people getting divorced. Why are you getting divorced? Because I wasn't happy. Well, if you're not happy, just move on to find somebody that makes you happy. Or you're not happy with this, oh, just move on to something else until you find your happiness. Because brothers and sisters, we've swallowed the lie. Look, all of us throughout our lives, we're all trying to achieve happiness. I don't have a problem with that. That's fair. Do it. Great. But can I share a secret with you today? You think your life is horrible and man, I'm just not happy and I've got to change my life because if I'm not happy, it means I'm not in the right place. Your life is not intended to be happy every day. It's time to grow up and accept that. Your life is not intended to be happy every single day. Hashem created the world, and he chooses to run the world wherein incredibly wonderful, happy things happen. Yes, they do. You know what else? Incredibly difficult things happen as well. How do you know that, Josh? Because brothers and sisters, this is exactly how it's been since the beginning of time. Can I give you some examples? Will you allow me to do that this morning? Let me give you some examples. Adam and Chava, they sinned. They brought death into the world. Adam had 2 sons. One son kills the other son. That was probably pretty difficult. Avraham, it's so much difficulty in his life. What about Yitzhak? So much difficulty in his life. What about Yaakov? So much difficulty in his life. What about Moshe? So much difficulty in his life. What about Aharon? So much difficulty in his life. What about Job? So much difficulty in his life. What about Melech David? Do you know the pain that Melech David had in his life? He lost 2 children. Melech David had such a difficult life. What about Yeshua, our Messiah? Do I even need to elaborate on his life experience? How about all the disciples? Every single one of them suffering and dying horrible deaths. Do you think for a second that verses that Christians like to quote, and they say this all the time, do you think verses that Christians quote that the disciples would have been aware of, like this, "For I know what plans I have in mind for you, says Hashem, plans for well-being, not for bad things, so that you have hope and a future. When you call on me and you pray to me, I will listen to you." Do you believe that verses like that didn't apply to the disciples? The ones who died horrific deaths? Have we really taken the bait into believing that accepting Yeshua the Messiah makes us exempt from tragedy in this life? Yes, we have. We can shake our head no, but yes, we have. And I can prove it because of our reaction to the situations that happen in our lives. It's not fair. It's not fair, brothers and sisters, that my eyes are the way that they are. It's not fair that I have to have laser surgery. It's not fair that I have to go have my heart checked in May. It's not fair. That attitude comes from somebody who thinks that just because I've accepted Yeshua, everything in my life is going to be perfect. I'm willing to admit it today. That's my attitude. And God is showing that to me. And he is so desperately trying to change me today. Brothers and sisters, Hashem says, I want to have a world where sometimes incredibly good things happen. But I also want a world where sometimes incredibly difficult things happen. It's part of how life is just intended to be. It's just how it is. So now you want to ask me the tough question, don't you? I know you do. Because I wanted to find the answer to the tough question. Now you want to say to me, why? Why, Josh, is life designed this way? Why has Hashem designed life that I will have great moments and I will have tragic moments, that in an instant I lose everything that I cared for? Why has he designed my life this way? I want to be honest with you. I can't give you the answer to every why in every single event and situation that might happen in your life. But I want to encourage you today. I can give you the overall answer. And it's this. And it's simple. Listen to how beautiful this is. We are who we are because of this perfect combination of incredibly good and incredibly difficult. The combination of easy things and hard things. The combination of hard days and easy days. The combination of days where I doubt if I have any faith at all. And the days where my feet can't even touch the ground. The combination of days when there's milk in the refrigerator and the days where there isn't. All these things make us us. All these things make us who we are. Look, as I said, I cannot explain everything that happens to you. I wish I could. I wish I could take your pain. I wish I could do that for you. I cannot explain every hard day that you might have had so far or the ones you're going to have in the future. But I can say this. I can give you an example. Every single time that I think about what happened on October 7th, every time I think about the heartache that each family felt as they got the news that their loved ones had been killed, every time I think about the hostages that are still held in Gaza today, every time I think about the brutal way in which the Son of Elohim suffered and he died on that execution stake, I'm strengthened. I'm not discouraged. I'm strengthened. And this is how Hashem has strengthened his people since creation. You see, I have no idea why Hashem did what he did with that Jewish family 2 weeks ago. I've got no idea because I can't see the bigger picture. I can't see the full picture. And even more importantly today, brothers and sisters, I have no idea why he would send his only and unique and precious son to die for my sake. I don't know why. But I know this. There's a purpose. And from that knowledge, brothers and sisters, I can draw strength. These incredibly difficult, seemingly impossible circumstances of our lives. That's what makes us us. But they're also there to strengthen us. In the very same way, brothers and sisters, the great suffering of our Messiah, it makes us us. But his bloody sacrifice also strengthens us. Look, every single one of us would have preferred that October the 7th never happened. Every single one of us would have preferred that the entire world would have accepted Yeshua the Messiah at his first coming instead of brutally murdering him. You see, brothers and sisters, what I'm trying to tell you today, as hard as it might be for us to understand, as hard as it might be for us to accept, Hashem preferred that it happen. Hashem preferred that it happen. Because, brothers and sisters, just as it is with Israel after October the 7th, and you can see this today in the nation, we are who we are today as a result of these things happening. Are they tragic? Yes. Do we feel pain? Do we feel loss? Yes. Do we understand why things happen the way that they happen all of the time? No, we don't. Understand today that salvation has come to me and to you. Why? Because Hashem preferred that his own son should suffer and die in our place. Would we have designed a different plan? Yeah, maybe. Would our plan have been any better? Absolutely not. You see, as we approach Pesach in the coming week, I want to remind all of us, listen to me, whether you're going to be part of my Seder that we're doing, whatever, I want to remind you of something, whatever Seder you might go to. When we come together, we aren't just commemorating the fact that we've been made free. Is that important? Yes, that is a critical part of our Passover Seder. But you see, we're also doing something else when we come together. We're commemorating the fact that we were once slaves. We're not just thinking about our freedom. We're remembering and commemorating the fact that we were once slaves. Why do we do this? Why would I do that? Because, brothers and sisters, without the difficulty of slavery, we wouldn't even know what it means to be free. It's what makes us who we are. That delicate balance of difficulty and freedom. I want you to think about the story of Israel. If any one of us would have written the blueprint for what happened to Israel, and God told us at the start, right, Josh, here you go. Here's some paper. I want you to write down how you want these things to pan out, right? I think the way that I would have written it is like this. I would have said, let Yaakov have his tribes. Let those tribes go straight to Sinai. Let them receive the Torah, and then let them go directly into the promised land. That would have been my plan. Because, hey, it's clean, it's easy, it's nice, it's neat. Nobody goes through any difficulty. Nobody gets thrown into pits. Nobody goes into slavery. It's so much easier. But Hashem said no. Hashem said, I need you to go into a foreign country for 210 difficult years. Why? Why put us through that? Why put us through that suffering? Because it's going to make you a nation. And not only is it going to make you a nation, but it's going to make you a nation who's ready to receive my Torah. Brothers and sisters, this is just the reality of how Hashem runs the world. Regardless of if we think it's fair or it's not. That's just how it is. In conclusion today, I want to share some words with you that were written around AD 57. by a great rabbi. And it's someone who's not so far removed from what I'm trying to teach you here today. And just by coincidence, get this, and I'm being honest with you, just by coincidence, what I want to share with you comes from Romans chapter 8, the very same chapter that we read this morning in the Brit Hadashah readings. That's just coincidence. I had no idea that was going to be the reading this week when this verse was chosen. Listen to what Rav Shaul tells us in Romans chapter 8, verses 18 to 21. He says, I don't think the sufferings we are going through now are even worth comparing to the glory that will be revealed to us in the future. The creation awaits eagerly for the Son of God to be revealed. For the creation was made subject to frustration, not willingly, but because of the one who subjected it. But it was given a reliable hope that it too would be set free from its bondage to decay and would enjoy the freedom accompanying the glory that God's children will have. Brothers and sisters, what makes each and every one of us so blessed is that through the Ruach of our Creator, no matter what the circumstances are in our lives, if we're just willing to have eyes that go beyond the natural, if we're just willing to have hearts that see beyond our pain, if we're just willing to see however low or however high I might be, Hashem is still at work in my life, then we'll see his hand in everything. Baruch Hashem, Adonai.